see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Monday, March 25th, 2024, and this is episode 661 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled Isometric Projection. I'll be chatting about an interesting eclipse correlation, more on Norman's Paw, my sync project update, and much, much more. Good morning. Good morning. Let's check out who's in the coffee crew, who's hanging out over there in the live chat, and grab a cup, hang out for about an hour, and we will get rolling. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone today? Jim in first, but man, only 6 minutes before the show started. Congratulations, Jim, on getting in first. Pip in. Good morning, Pip. Good morning, Jim. Rewilder Life. Good morning, drinking local roast this AM truck stop organics, big rig roast, and it's bold flavor. That's some catchy marketing there. Big truck stop organics. Interesting. Good morning, K-Bonk. Thanks for swinging in. Appreciate it as always. What is in my cup this morning? What is in the cup this morning? I opened up a new pound over the weekend and randomly pulled it out of the cupboard. I told you when I got my order in, I just kind of bring the stock that I have up there because it's not too much ever at any point, and shuffle it up with the new stuff that comes in and put it back up in the cupboard. And luck of the draw got me some Silver Bullet blend this weekend when I pulled it out, and I've been enjoying that ever since. Silver Bullet blend from Food Forest Farms. It is fantastic. It is it's a mix of light and super dark. It was made as a special blend for the last round of silver sales that I did, the silver custom lots silver coins. We paired that up with 1 ounce silver coin with 6 pounds of Silver Bullet blend, and it went all right. But leftover product, that Silver Bullet blend, man, it is fantastic. So I think you can still get it over at foodforestfarms.com. Go check it out. If you can't find it on the website, just send Brian a message and he will get you all taken care of. I appreciate everything that Brian does for the show. And here's to the start to a good week with some good coffee. Wilder Life says she's proofing sourdough. I don't know exactly what that is. I'm not a bread manufacturer by any means, but she's using a new recipe, making dog food, and hopefully organizing the basement a bit. And maybe the dentist, or is that a solid dentist solid dentist appointment there? I've yet to get to a dentist for my missing tooth. I have been digging into a few different options for fixing it and the rest of all that's going on here. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. What's on the list today to talk about? I kind of am going to piggyback off of last week's Friday episode, the Tales from TikTok. I saw it on TikTok conspiracy theory episode. There was one thing I mentioned in there, and it was kind of in passing. I didn't really get into it a whole bunch on Friday, but it piqued my interest when I saw it. So I looked into it a little bit more this weekend. I dug in a little bit. I made some discoveries. I was more interested. And so I thought I would lead off with that this morning, and then get into the other stuff I mentioned, like Norman, update on Norman, update on the sync project I told you guys about last week, and some other stuff I got here on the list. But yeah. So TikTok did it again. I told you guys last week, I was down the pretty much. Good morning, Pickle Pete. Thanks for swinging in. Glad you made it. I think this is something that is right up your alley, coming along here pretty quick. First topic of the day. Hunter says good morning over on Twitch. How are you doing, Hunter? If you guys are interested in the Dallas Fort Worth area, hold on, I forgot to grab the link. I totally forgot this morning to grab it. If you guys are in the Dallas Fort Worth area and you're running a homestead or just looking to grab some rabbits, I would appreciate if you head over to reedsrabbitry.com. Buddy in the audience, Hunter here, his boy is setting up a rabbitry, doing really well. We were testing out the page for him last night. Page looks great, and if you're in that Dallas Fort Worth area and you're looking to pick up some rabbits, definitely check them out. I can't say that I've personally picked up one of those rabbits, but if they're selling them, it'll be just fine. So looking for rabbits in that area, and definitely check out that site. I put the link in the video comments, and I will try to remember to go back and get it into the show notes. If not today, tomorrow. Yeah. So let's get on to it with the eclipse stuff. So I mentioned on Friday that my feed is now on TikTok is full of a mix of animal posts, because Corey sends me cute dogs and all these animal posts. I really think that she's buttering me up to no problem, Hunter, no problem at all. Really buttering me up. I think she wants another dog. Like I have this, that feeling you get when something is brewing, something's about to happen. Usually it's like gas or something, but every once in a while you nail it. I think she's buttering me up for another animal. Sending me all these cute dog videos. I remember how it went down last time when we got the dogs, when we got the St. Bernards. Was it started, we had Walter, we had made the decision to get Norman, and then she started sending me pictures of this puppy. And about the third one, I asked her if she had named it yet. She had. I knew it was over at that point. So I think all these dog videos on TikTok might be oh, Pickle P says at least it's a 4-legged itch. There ain't no 2-legged itch around here. I will guarantee you above and beyond anything else that there will never be a biological clock ticking here. And if there is, she will hoard herself more animals. Real Wilder Life says we need a cat. Corey, what do you think about a cat? You don't want a cat? She doesn't want a cat. She only wants dogs. No cats. I'm good with no cats either. When our devil spawn cat finally kicked it before we took off, that was it. That was it on the cat for sure. I could only imagine these dogs playing with a cat in here. Jesus. Anyway, my TikTok feed is pretty much full of animal posts. Kyle sends me some stuff that's kind of odd. We'll just put it that way. But I also get these conspiracy theories. And the track of the conspiracy theories right now is all the eclipse. I mean, we're under 2 weeks now. Is it 2 weeks? About two weeks from today. 2 weeks from today. Jim says he thinks we should get one of Reed's rabbits. Nah, not in the trailer. If we get set up somewhere, I would consider doing rabbits again. Not to the scale that we did them, but definitely consider having them again. I enjoyed eating them for sure. They weren't that hard to raise. Anyway, eclipse is about 2 weeks from today. Good morning, Chris. Morning, Chris. So there's lots of theories out there about the eclipse. There's all the end times with the little Egypt and the X marks the spot, and a lot of the earthquake talk and just on and on and on. There's 100 different lines you could take this. And a lot of them pique my interest. The earthquake correlation with the eclipse, and then the devil comet, that kind of has piqued my interest a little bit more, since we're so close to the New Madrid fault line. May have like set my spidey sense off a little bit more, just to something to pay attention to. Now, I have to preface all of this conversation with, I am not like 100% all in on any of this. I entertain the idea. I contemplate it. I look for threads of false things that will shoot it down. But I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen. When I started to be willing to listen was when I realized that, maybe our government's trying to fucking kill us with our food supply, with our medical procedures. Maybe it's more about profits than taking care of people. Things like that. Rachel had a timely post this morning with a giant grasshopper, and we will eat the bugs. These are things you realize when you start being open to hearing things. Now, there is a fine line between being open to hearing things and believing everything you hear. So I like to talk about it. I like to discuss it. I like to entertain the ideas, for sure. Rewilder Life says, no, the government wants to help. I'm open to hearing about that. Will you explain to me how that is a possibility? Like I said, I am open. Chris Dixon says maybe it's the mothership that'll cross over the sun. Hey, I haven't dug into that too much yet, but that was one of the big feeds that's in there right now. One of the big theories that's in my feed is something about I'll have to look up this for Friday, because I'm sure it's just going to be packed full of my feed all week and I won't be able to get away from it. But something about the sun and the moon aren't in the right houses, aren't in the right astrological houses. I don't know astrology. I don't know horoscopes. I don't know any of that. A very, very limited basis on that. I know I'm an Aquarius because I know what day I was born. I don't even really know what my wife is. What are you, a Cancer? She's a Libra. Never mind. Point proven right there. So I don't know much about that, but they're saying that something about that they have to both be in Aries, to intersect, which makes sense in my brain. Like, they have to be in the same area of the sky to cover each other. Weird. But they're saying that they're in Pisces, maybe. I don't know. I haven't dug in by any means. But what they're saying is that there isn't a way that the moon can get in between the sun and the earth on April 8th, so that it's going to be something else that's blocking out the sun. Chris Dixon says the mothership. Jim says the Death Star. Some people some people are saying that it might be Planet X. What is that? Nibiru? Is that how you say it? I haven't looked too much into that, but Planet X is the planet that is making like a 3,000 year orbit around the Earth. Yeah, maybe. Something to do with the Devil's Comet coming, all of this stuff. Chris Dixon says, did you just call your wife a Cancer? I too live dangerously. No. Jim says Pluto's pissed about being deplanetized. It's coming back. Maybe. Anyway, lots of theories out there about the eclipse. What's going to happen? The one that grabbed my attention, and we all know in this space, if you're listening to this show, if you're spending time, you know that there's probably a thread of truth in all of this stuff. In all of the conspiracy theories I talk about on Friday's episodes with the TikTok stuff, there has to be some semblance of one even microscopic piece of truth in any of these. Otherwise, it just doesn't hold water. Two eclipses are going to converge on the United States and it's going to form an X. Well, we know this. Like, no one's disputing the fact that there's going to be an X. Now, what happens after you make that statement? All bets are off. All bets are off. Chris Dixon says it'll probably be snowing here that day, so no, we won't even notice. That was something that was a long time coming. Was they were predicting cloud cover like months in advance, like months and months and months in advance. It was like back in January or February, they were saying that there's going to be what with the one before it makes a word or something. Oh, okay. Yeah, they were predicting cloud cover or heavy dense fog or like it was out there. I was like, weird, a day in April is gonna be cloudy. Okay. Anyway, there's a thread of truth. There's a thread of truth there. So the one that really caught my eye was a guy that did this video. Don't look up at it. Don't look up to. I almost bought some glasses because we're at like 98. I think we're 98.7% totality where we're located. We're close. We're close to the edge of the 100%. So it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close to total here. But anyway, the one that really caught my eye and the one that sat in my head enough that I went back and I was like, I want to check on some of this shit. I want to check on this shit. Chris Dixon says that's actually day 89 of the fog cycle. And Pip chimes in with, and then the portal opens up. Oh god. So anyway, I saw this theory and it interests me. It interests me enough to go back and like start Googling shit and start looking up and kind of I don't know if it was fact checking. He put graphics up from Google searches on his TikTok. So I was like, well, I mean, I'm just doing double the work, but let me go back and just type it in just to be sure. So what this dude was talking about was called isometric projection and isometric prediction. And what that is, it takes a little bit of understanding what the concept is, but basically, if you looked at the thumbnail for today, the easiest way to think about it is when you drop a rock into water, it goes bloop, and then it sends out rings. We've all seen it. We've all seen the pictures. It's same with sound. Like everything is going out in concentric circles. So, and like Pip says, then the portal opens up. Anyway, so what isometric prediction, and all this information comes from someone that studies simulation theory. So you know what kind of path we're going down here with simulation theory. This is kind of what they say is time, our perception of time also works like this. It's also fluid like this, that when an event happens in time, that just like dropping a rock into water, you can see equal distant time away related events. So one event would be the rock dropping in the water, and two other events, one prior and one post, would be related, but equal distant time on either side. Makes sense, right? You following me here? Following? So just picture time as the top of a very calm lake, and we drop a rock in. Bloop, 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 bloop. So this already had me kind of on the hook. Jim says no, it doesn't make sense to him. Not a damn clue. Not a damn clue. Okay. Do you get the picture? Like, look at the thumbnail for today. Drop, ring, 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 ring. So we should be able to pinpoint an event and then look equal distant before and after and find related events. This is what hooked me. Obviously, Pip would have just like flown right over this. Jim, we don't know if all the synapses are still firing, so it's tough to base it on Jim. Chris Dixon says, ever notice, regardless of the shape of the rock, the ripples are always perfect circles? Of course they are. It's waves. Pip says he watched Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Does that count? No. We're gonna move on. Slow kids in the back, get a hold of me after the show if you need to get caught up. So what this guy was saying was we're gonna be able to relate the 2017 eclipse, the last solar eclipse that the totality crossed the United States, and the 2024 eclipse that we're going to experience in a couple weeks. A lot of people are focusing on the X marks the spot. This guy said, okay, these are two astrological events. We should be able to correlate them in isometric prediction and projection. So here we go. We're gonna talk dates. We're gonna talk numbers and events. All right. So we're gonna start with our two dates. We got 2017. We have 2017. The solar eclipse, the last one that happened, the 2017 solar eclipse happened on August 21st, 2017. If we take August 21st, 2017, and we fast forward to April 8th, 2024, and we figure out how many days are in between, we get 2,422 days between those two dates. Eclipse happened. Eclipse is supposed to happen. We don't know if it's going to happen, but we're all talking about it. It's scheduled to happen. It's this big deal. So if we take those 2,422 days and we divide it in half to find the middle point, like we got here and here, we want to find the middle point. We got 2,000 plus days. We're going to cut it in half. We end up with 1,211 days. Easy math. Divide by 2. Pip, you know how we make things in half? We divide it by 2. So Hunter's wondering if Harambe died. The gorilla, I can't say his name. Never could. Died. The gorilla died. No. But let's figure out what did happen that day. We got a midpoint of 1,211 days. If we fast forward from, or go back from, so if we fast forward from August 21st, 2017, or go back from April 8th, 2024, it should be in the middle, same date. That middle date was December 14th, 2020. So the three dates we're looking at are August 21st, 2017, December 14th, 2020, and April 8th, 2024. Those are our three dates in time that this guy is saying they're all related. They're all related. The middle date was when the rock dropped and the rings are coming out, and they both hit. They both hit on the two solar eclipses that are crossing the United States. So, wouldn't it be crazy? Wouldn't it be crazy if you Googled what happened on December 14th, 2020? Well, I did. I was like, huh. Well, I mean, he told me what happened on that date. But I did Google it and confirm there happened to be a total solar eclipse on December 14th, 2020. I was like, oh, weird. And then it really just sat in my head. I was like, oh, well, of course it's like cyclical. That's probably the cycle. Weird. Somebody figured out the cycle. They went back and they're like, oh, look at all these dates. And they're related. Well, sure as shit, there was a total solar eclipse. It went across the bottom of South America, still over America, as this guy said. I'm like, man, that's kind of okay. But anyway, total solar eclipse in the middle. I'm like, okay, well, you got my attention enough to keep listening. And then he started talking about some other things. Now, isometric projection and prediction are used to correlate events and sometimes try to predict what's going to happen on the coming one. So like if you can get to 2 points in time and you know something else is going to happen, their theory is, Jim says, so something's going to happen in 1,211 days. Well, I think there's going to be another total solar eclipse somewhere on the Earth in another 1,211 days past April 8th. But these are just, this example is grouping these three events that are equal distance apart. He says all solar eclipses. And I'm like, all right, well, this is kind of hokey. And he said, well, when those dates are related by something, they're related in totality. So we're going to look at some other things that happened on those days and see maybe if there is any other maybe coincidence. Now, I figured that was the cycle of the sun, or the cycle of the sun and the moon, and the interception of the sun crossing the moon, or the moon crossing the sun's path, making a solar eclipse. I just was like, okay, well, math and circles and ellipses and all of this is just the natural date, 3.5 years or whatever it is. He said they put it into ChatGPT and asked them to calculate the odds, calculate the statistical probability that all three of these dates will have Chris Dixon says, does he go back every 1,211 days to confirm his math? He didn't. He said that's not these three specific were related. And I was like, okay, well, I did a quick Google search in it, and there's some pretty solid religious zealot going down the 1,211 day path. That was another rabbit hole I just cut off right there because I needed to finish this research. Jim says I'm describing the plot to the butterfly effect. No, well, he had them search the statistical probability or calculate the statistical probability that all three of these dates lined up at the same time. And ChatGPT said that it was a statistical improbability. So I was like, interesting. Now, I'm not relying on that for solid proof or of anything. Like I said at the beginning, this is still just a conversation. This is a conversation, and he was using this theory to prove that we live in a simulation. So I didn't mention that up front, but that's this guy's thing, is that we're in a simulation. So whatever. It's just I find it interesting. So statistical improbability, or statistical impossibility, that these all line up on the same dates that far apart. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So that's still in question with me. But what he did do was say that we need to now look at the rest of the days. We have to look at the rest of the days in what happened on those days. So this is what he pulled out. He said, this is a TikTok. It's short. I can't get into everything on these days, but you can Google the days. And I did. I took him for what he said. I started looking at it, and I'm going to hit the stuff that he talked about because it was the easy button when I was doing the research for the show this morning. And like he said, it's I can't talk about for this for hours and hours and hours. But anyway, let's start out with the 2017 came across the Earth. came across the Earth. In 2017, very soon before the eclipse, and then right in through the first eclipse, there was a development going on in Chesterfield, Missouri. Chesterfield, Missouri is in the X. It's actually in the X, but so in 2017, it was obviously in the path of totality of the first eclipse. It's going to be in the path of the totality of the second eclipse. Chesterfield, Missouri. About a month, a little over a month before the first eclipse in 2017, something broke ground in Chesterfield, Missouri. It was a research facility. Research and development production facility for this company that you might have heard of. They make some things. They do some things. People don't really care for them. Some people love them. Some people hate them. Pfizer, weird company that they make stuff that they stick in you that may or may not have been developed to maybe like do some things to take care of some stuff, or I don't know. They started building a production facility for Pfizer. So that starts. We're gonna fast forward now to the second eclipse. That happens in South America, where it was pretty loose correlation. There was an eclipse in 2017 in North America, and there's eclipse in 2020 in South America, and then there's an eclipse in 2024 in North America. Whatever, that could happen. Anyway, let's take a look at what happened on December 14th, 2020, the midpoint. And we're going to look in the lens of possibly Pfizer and the jab and things like that. Well, on December 14th, 2020, coincidentally enough, was the day. Anybody got a guess? Anybody got a guess what happened on that day? Who's got their Google running this morning? That was the first day that they started rolling out vaccines for the vid. They started rolling out to government officials, to what was that called, Project Warp Speed or whatever. That happened to be the first day that they started poking people with this shit. And do you remember which company headlined that charge? Starts with a PF. Tough to make that noise with my missing tooth, but Pfizer. So you're my Google Uncle Brian. Thanks. So Hunter says I do, but I'm not looking up I'm looking up the number of eclipses per year, and it's not 0. Total solar eclipses? It's got to be total solar eclipses, because these were total solar eclipses, all 3 of them. So they started the first jabs on that date. Pfizer was the company that was leading that charge, and those initial doses came from the facility in Chesterfield, Missouri. I don't know, guys. I don't know. He started going down that path, and it perked my ears a little bit more. So it's also, he's like, there's going to be linear dots. There's going to be dots of correlation on these dates. So the Pfizer facility being started in the path of the eclipse, the rollout of the first doses, this is stuff that he's connecting. He is not me. Built a facility, release the jab. Now he's saying we can now look at 2 weeks from today and figure out something related to the jab that's going to happen. Now he says, this was my favorite. He's like, now I'm not saying all of a sudden everybody that got the prick is going to turn into a zombie and start wandering around the earth. But, the Simpsons are pretty good at predicting stuff, and they predicted zombies coming out of a comet with an eclipse. I'm like, what? Quick Google search, and sure as shit, the Simpsons had an episode where zombies came out of a comet that was here during an eclipse. And we do know the Simpsons track record about being right or partially right about a lot of shit like that. Weird. But anyway, so we should be able to predict something. Something should happen, a closure. And this is what he says, this isometric projection. When the event happens, there's a preceding event that seemingly is unrelated in the past that is also related to the date, and then an event in the future that will also seem coincidental and seemingly unrelated, but then when we step back and look at it as totality, this is what happens. They're all related. There's threads going through all of this, and it happens on short waves, on long waves, and I'm like, okay, well, we can really pick any 3 points in history and relate something. Like, this is just how it goes. Norman earthquake, guys. Norman earthquake, don't worry. New Madrid fault is not going off quite yet. So that interests me. There was something else. There was something else that he mentioned about that center day, that drop, the point where the rock dropped. So first days of the jab, it was also the day that they made the announcement, and Chris Dixon was close on this. Chris Dixon was close where they announced on that date that Biden had won the Electoral College and was going to be president. Remember all the hubbub on the election and contesting and all of that, and the election happens in November, and then it was like weeks later. Supposedly on December 14th, 2020 was the day that they said, all right, Joe Biden, yep, it's official, he won. And then we know what happens after that in January, and the biggest event since the dawning of time. Hunter in the comments, this is perfect. He says, I love the idea of supervillains running all this, and they're involving the Rain Man little brother who's picking the dates. Pickle Pete says, holy shit, Biden's gonna step down. Could be, or bow out, or die. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But it was just this weird, like, the guy's hook caught me enough, and he had enough. He had more than that just nibble of fact. Like, these are all things you guys can Google. Like, you can look it up. You can look up the dates. You can look up the events. It's all past recorded history in multiple locations. You're going to find some weird, spooky shit when you start Googling 1211 days and eclipses and shit like that. Buckle your seatbelt if you have any tendencies of religious, like Book of Revelation and stuff like that. Buckle up and beware when you start reading down that path. But yeah, it interests me. It interests me enough to look into it more. And I can't say that there isn't something about it. I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to simulation theory. I mean, we all joke about the Matrix and we all joke about shit like that. Does simulation need to be from a supercomputer? Does simulation need to be from one's own mind? K-Bong says, I don't have time for this. All right, well, we'll wrap it up. K-Bong's done. K-Bonk's done. I do have other things to talk about today, but yeah, it's definitely it's something to ponder, and I think it's something to ponder bigger than just the eclipse. I think it's definitely something to ponder on a larger scale. I don't think it's something that you need to bury your life in and become the dude with all the strings and attaching, unless that's your gig. Some people are making pretty good money on TikTok doing that, but I think it's something that you could look into in your free time if you're like, hey, some light reading. Let's read about isometric projection and prediction and time simulation theory, things like that. Just in case you got a couple extra minutes. So yeah, that's a hole you can jump down over the next 2 weeks and make your predictions. Maybe we should have a make your prediction. Pickle Pete's in with Biden's going to step down or bow out. Huh. Jim says, have you all seen the movie Wall-E? I've seen the movie Wall-E. It was a long time ago. Pip says 2 weeks to slow the spread. Yeah, I mean, then there's the you have to add in the human element and the control factor of all these people and figure out which is they're doing and which is idle hands theories. I mean, Chris Dixon, you might say that in jest, but there is something to keeping the population busy so they don't actually think. Is that what your idle hands theories are? Or were you poking fun at the fact that people have time to look things up? Because it might work both ways. I don't know. Maybe having some time to think and contemplate and connect dots isn't sort of a bad thing. Maybe it's intentionally not there. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. Take the thoughts for what you will and run with them. Run with them. It works both ways. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Let's see what else is on the list. So you guys can jump on that if you want. Have fun with it. Norman, my big old boy. He might be doing better. He might be doing better. We're not sure. I don't think that Corey and I agree that we don't think that the antibiotics did much. We've been able to get more video of it. He won't let us touch it. We don't want to end up breaking him or us in the process of trying to look at it. And he's so damn strong, but he does lay with it exposed. And so we're able to take video of it. Man, technology is great. If you're trying to get a look at something and you need to, and you can't, like an animal like that, take your phone, take a video and zoom in. And then you can take screenshots or you can watch the video and pause it and things like that. That's how we're making sure we're keeping an eye on Norman's foot. It also helps comparing progression, worse or better. Corey did that with my thumb when I cut my thumb off and we didn't go to the doctor. She just took care of it ourselves. She would take a picture every day and just compare them to make sure it was getting better, not worse, because 24 hours later, did it look better than yesterday? Well, I think it looks about the same. It's like gangrene now. Anyway, we're keeping an eye on it. It doesn't, we're not really sure what's going on. I'm kind of in the camp of it's and Corey mentioned this and she got me thinking about it and it makes sense. Is it's inflamed or infected. I don't think it's infected because the antibiotics didn't do shit. Inflamed hair follicle from on his pad, or it's a pore that got some shit in it but it just looks really irritated. It looks kind of like there may be a cut there, but I'm not sure if the cut's from or the crack is from the swelling. But anyway, we've been limiting his walks to very minimal just so he can so he can pee and poo or whatever he needs to do. And then we've been soaking it in Epsom salts. And it seems to be Rewilder Life says, can you give him Benadryl and then shave it? We've been he's had Benadryl through the whole course of his antibiotics. He got Benadryl at the same time as his antibiotics twice a day. I don't think it's allergies. The Benadryl didn't do very much of anything. Same with the antibiotics. It was just kind of like stagnant. The soaking in Epsom salt seems to be helping the most, if anything. And I don't know if it's just cleaning it. It makes it feel better. I don't know. But we're rolling with it. He's dealing with it. Rewilder Life is wondering if you can shave it so you can see better. Oh, we can see it. He's eaten all the hair away, licked all the hair away, and it was on the bottom. It was on the bottom of the pad, so there wasn't a lot of hair there to begin with. It's not on the top. So that's where we have trouble walking him, is because it shouldn't say it's on the bottom of the pad. Like legit, it's like right here on the in between. Like if you would say it would be in between his toes. It's it's like in between on the side of one of his toes. So I don't know. We keep soaking it. We keep resting him, and we'll see. We did have a scary moment the other day, though. Scared the living shit out of me. I brought him back. We took him. We go with him as far as he goes, and then he pees, and then we turn around and come back, and we soak his feet while Corey takes the other two on their walk. We came back, and we were coming up through the yard. These dogs, like, this isn't unusual, them throwing up. These dogs throw up more than any dogs I've ever had in my life. And we think that Norman might be in a little bit of pain, so he is eating grass because his stomach's upset because he's in pain, or maybe he's just eating grass because his stomach's upset because he couldn't go on the walk with his brothers. Don't know, really. But he was eating grass a little bit, and we got up into the yard here, and we were almost back to the trailer. Bless you, Corey. We were almost back to the trailer, and he started having to throw up. And this is not unusual. Like, this isn't, I mean, it is unusual for dogs, but St. Bernards, they puke all the time. They have really bad stomachs. So he starts kind of heaving a little bit, and we know the routine. It takes him a little while, and then he throws up, and then usually he does it twice. Well, I'm standing there waiting. Standing there waiting, and he's heaving, and he throws up, and he threw up so heavy, and he fell over, like collapsed. And I thought he died. Like, I watched it, and I was like, oh my God. Got down, fell. He was still breathing. I don't know if he passed out from puking so hard, what happened, but we sat there for a minute, and he kind of got his bearings back, and like nothing happened. Stood up, went over, we soaked his feet, and he was fine. Or we didn't soak his feet then. I didn't want to make him stand up for 10 minutes after he'd done that. But I was like, what happened? Chris Dixon says, you think he's developed an allergy to his food? Maybe. Could be the food, could be the grass, could be the pollen, could be 100 million things, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know what happened with him, but he's been fine since. He hasn't seemed to start to fall over or anything like that. He doesn't seem to be super lethargic any more than normal. It's really hard to tell when St. Bernards get lethargic because they sleep like 18 hours a day or more anyway already. So We're keeping an eye on it. We look at his foot as much as we can. We're limiting his walking, but man, this one's a tough one. And the vet around here basically is kind of a yeah, yeah, give him some antibiotics, which is right up our alley. We don't need to be doing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of guessing at the vet, but it's when it's your pet, man, you don't know what's wrong with them. It gets tough. So we'll see. We'll keep plugging at it. He doesn't seem any worse for wear. We also wonder if he's putting on a big old act because of his brothers and the pack mentality. So we will see. That is more to come. That is a developing situation. Chris Dixon, I'm curious on the food thing now that you mentioned it. So I don't know. What else this weekend? You guys nailed it on the sink. I was telling you guys about the sink a while back. It was forever process. The sink was leaking. I took it apart, tried to reseal it, didn't work. Took it apart again, tried to reseal it. I was trying to get away with only going to the local store like 7 miles away instead of having to go down to Lowe's to get the proper equipment or materials. And Hunter says pig fat, maybe a splinter. Yeah, I don't know what's in it. There isn't any one spot that looks like it's the problem area. It's like the size of a dime, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, we finally, for the sink, we finally went down to Lowe's. I got some plumber's putty, boom, boom, 10 minutes, done. It's really, I knew that from the start. I knew that would fix it. I've fixed sinks before. I've taken the drain out, I put it in. I've had plumber's putty, and that's what I used. Trying to get away with not taking the drive cost me like a fucking week. It cost me a week of using the old crappy silicone caulk that I had here that was partially dried up. I guess it saved me the fact of trying to use it again. I was able to toss it. I picked up some other stuff that was similar, but it was all they had and the closest I could find at Dollar General. That it probably would have worked if I was able to do it exactly right. Not in the situation where we still had to use the sink and everything. I just had to go buy the plumber's putty for $2.99 and do it right, and bam, bam, it was done. So, guys, just do it right. If you know the right way to do it, and even though it's an extra hour drive round trip, just do it. Go get the right stuff. It's fixed. It was instant. There was no drying. Like, I knew all this stuff. Plumber's putty is fantastic. All right, that sigh came from a comment here from one of our lovely guests, Chris Dixon. I have to give him complete credit for it because I'm going to read this and I'm going to quote it because, yeah. Chris Dixon says, quote, did you hear about the young couple that mistook their window putty for their lube? All their windows fell out. Unquote. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for the morning comedy. Yeah, so the sink is fixed, or so it seems. I'm sure I'll check in a couple of days and there'll be a leak down there, probably from somewhere else, something that didn't get tight, because that's just how it rolls around here. But as for now, the sink drain itself is watertight and held plenty of water in the sink when we tested it. So I'm excited about that. This weekend was man, we spent a lot of time just pounding out paracord keychains and paracord items to have on our vendor table at SRF. If you're coming to SRF, definitely stop by and see us. definitely stop by and see us and check out the paracord wares. Once we see how it goes at SRF and see what kind of stock we have left, those will go up on Etsy after. Working on getting those listings put together, the pricing and all of that. That will get done after the fact. So if you're not coming to SRF, you can find all the stuff on Etsy. And after I get it up on Etsy, I will get it up on our webpage too. You say, why isn't it going to be on your webpage first and then Etsy? Because Etsy puts customers on my listings. After 400 sales and however many years of selling comfrey, they drive traffic to my stuff. So it's the cost of doing business on the listings. If you saw the difference in the views per the listings on Etsy or my website, and a lot of that's my fault because I don't really know how to drive traffic to a website effectively yet. Getting there, but it's kind of pay to play with Etsy, and you pay for their traffic. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Pickle Pete says Bitcoin brew bagged at the SRF table. I don't have any. I don't have any coffee to sell at the table. I could definitely put some out for sure. But speaking of Etsy and speaking of listings on websites and things like that, comfrey is rolling. Jim says, what's Etsy's taking a commission? Too much. I raise my prices to cover the commission sometimes. Now they've started doing this thing where they'll advertise it outside of Etsy. Chris Dixon says about 15%. Yeah, that's where we're at 15%. Chris, have they started doing the outside ads for your stuff? Have you enabled that? Like now they have this thing where they advertise it outside of Etsy, like in Google and Facebook and all these things. Etsy drives the sales, and then you don't pay anything unless somebody clicks on it. Every fucking sale that comes in, they say, yeah, every sale that comes in, they say came from outside ads. Chris says opt out of the outside ads. I did. And then they stopped showing it to people. It's more like 22%. Yeah. I'm guessing I would have to go back and look, and I would say I'm over 80% coming from outside ads. Weird. I mean, it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. So anyway, if you want to buy comfrey, if you are in the comfrey wheelhouse right now, it's spring. Things are popping up. You're getting excited. I know people up north got snow, but there's a lot of the country right now that is in that prime planting time. We can get it out to you. You can go to Etsy, or you can go to our website. I can go to my website, thelotsproject.com. You can go to the shop. You can get whole plants. You can get root cuttings. You can get crown cuttings. Yeah, right there on the site. And Dixon says, weird, they make more money. Yeah. And that's where it came down to, is like, well, do I want to sell these things? I'm not losing money. I'm making less money. So do I want to make less but still make sales, or do I want to make zero? Is kind of the way I'm looking at it at that time. My cost of goods isn't that high compared to sales. It's a good business to be in, I guess. But I'd much prefer you head to thelotsproject.com, or if you know anybody that needs comfrey or wants to get started with the plant just for personal use, to get into the plants for a side hustle, to get into the plants to improve their soil, to use or medicinally. K-Bong says Noster sales. Yes, I do put it up over on Noster. That's still kind of wonky with their marketplace, but we'll get there. I do I do direct sales on Noster. If you want to reach out on Noster, you can message me. You can message me directly, and we can do a private transaction. We can barter whatever you want. Really, John Palmer says same thing. Making less is losing. If TikTok Shop, I've considered, and I'm starting to mess around a little bit with TikTok Shop. And the more I'm digging in, the more I like that idea. Jim says if you can do something else that makes more, then it's losing. John says same thing, making less is losing. Answer this question for me. If I have a jar with the unlimited amount of gumballs in it, it's full. And it just, every time I take some out, it fills back up. And I take it out and I get $100 for this one. And then I take this one out and I get $75 for this one. But if I don't take the $75 one and I put it back in because I didn't choose to make less, and I put it back in, and all I do is sell this $100 one once instead of 75, 75, 75, 75, and then every once in a while 100. Am I losing money, or am I using it as advertising fee? I think something is better than nothing, even if it comes at a higher cost and margin. Brian Pickle Pete says margin is mission, but anything above cost is a win. If I get 0 for not selling any because I don't use the outside ads, or if I sell 1 instead of 10, is making less on 9 better than making 0 on no sales? That's the decision I'm making. And like I said, the traffic that they provide is worth the squeeze. Pip says, sounds like the cost of doing business on their site. It's the cost of the traffic they send to your ad. K-Bonk says, too bad you can't write off that margin. Yep. Anyway, guys, we're at hour and 2. Like I said, if you need comfrey, you want comfrey root, whole plants, crown cuttings, all of that, you can find it at thelotsproject.com, or you can go check out my listing on Etsy and find them there, and maybe some other places soon. Oh, Noster for sure. Yeah, speaking of that, I didn't even pop over on Noster. Good morning, Jim. And oh, hey, we got another hey, thanks for the zap over there. I appreciate that. What was that? iTunes iTunes EITOON. Nice. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. It's Monday. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna let old Scramblin' take on. Chris Dixon says, I'd rather sell 10 for $1 than none for none. Yes. Yeah. All right. It is what it is, guys. Anyway, I appreciate y'all listening. If you enjoyed the show, it's always free to hit that like, share, and subscribe to return value for value. Please consider joining one of the YouTube membership tiers or listening on any value for value platform like Podverse or Fountain.fm. You can also return value for value by heading over and picking up t-shirts, mugs, comfrey at the website in the shop at thelotsproject.com, finding all the discount codes, partner companies, affiliate links, and all of that there. It all puts a little bit of change in my pocket. I appreciate that so much. And if you know anybody that is in the market for any of that stuff, send them my way, and I greatly appreciate that. Shares are always greatly appreciated. Other than that, guys, it's Monday. We got countdown 2 weeks till the full solar eclipse. We will see what happens. We talked about isometric projection. make your projections, make your predictions. What do you think is going to happen with the eclipse? Other than that, we will circle back and we will talk to you guys on Tuesday.